Laquita Park, CEO and founder of PayPro-V Publishing. She's passionate about helping individuals take their story from a thought to a realization. PayPro-V stands for pain, progress, victory. The subject Laquita is all too familiar with. A survivor of childhood medical trauma, she experienced a series of events that have forced her to battle with the painful effects that will last throughout her lifetime. Despite these challenges, Laquita is an overcomer, and she believes you are an overcomer too. As publisher and contributing author, she told her inspirational story in the international and domestic best-selling anthology, She Said Yes to Herself, Unapologetically Empower Her Guide. She uses her story to motivate, encourage, and inspire others to share their stories. She believes there is someone waiting on the other end of your story to get healing from their story. Free yourself from the pain and shame of a tucked away story. Do you want to tell your own powerful narrative, but you aren't sure where to start? Your journey towards healing begins now.
Welcome. Hello, Dr. AudreyAnn. When I tell you, don't we know God is good?
Always.
And all the time, God is good.
Always.
In the nick of time.
I was like, come on.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Laquita Parks, and I am the CEO and founder of PayPro-V Publishing. And PayPro-V is pain, progress, victory, because I believe without pain, there is no progress. And without progress, there can be no victory. So I help people take their stories from a thought to a realization. And I have my friend, my really, really good friend, my confidant, my therapist sometimes, and
we are,
and one of my favorite PayPro-V published authors. Look what I have here.
Oh, you got all of them. Well, let me go pull out all of them.
We have
pull out all of them.
Wait, we are so excited. Listen, technology is technology. Dr. AudreyAnn had some time getting connected, so she came in right in the nick of time. But this is My Heart on Pages, and we're going to talk to Dr. AudreyAnn when she comes back. She went to get her books. So we are so excited to have her here. It's been a minute getting our schedules combined. I see you. So we are going to talk to this multi best-selling author, also multi-award-winning author and radio show host, and and all things wonderful. So, Dr. AudreyAnn, how are you? I'm gonna give you a minute to catch your breath.
Yeah. It's a good thing I don't have to check my blood pressure right now.
I know. It's a good thing you didn't have to leave the house, right?
I'm telling you. And you know, it's like, excuse me, you know, it's like the whole time. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
I did. The whole time I was had it on my mind. Okay, I need to go on that quarter till. And that elephant walked through my office, and I was like, "Oh, I need to go find."
You know,
that was the end of that.
And it's okay because life happens. It has been today has been a day, not a bad day, but it's been a day. I found out yesterday one of my good friends passed away.
Oh,
and
no.
I know. And I was doing a lot of processing last night, and I felt a little sad. The more I thought about it, I started thinking about the good times. And so it's part of life. It is a part of life. It's one that we'll never get used to, but it is a part of life. But I will say, and I can say this from the depths of my heart, she is no longer suffering.
Right.
She was a child. She was a child of God. She was baptized into Christ, and she is now no longer suffering. So that is a beautiful thing. So we're going to get right to it. So I want to, Dr. AudreyAnn is the author of multiple books, but 3 of my favorites. And this is a series: Dead Girl Walking, award-winning, PayPro-V, You were the Pay Pro V first Book of the Year award winner with Dead Girl Walking. And then we
Yes.
came back with Jane's Journey.
Mhm.
And then we concluded it maybe with Silver Moon. And when
Yes.
I tell you, if you have not gotten this trilogy, you are missing out. Let me step back so you can see it. You are missing out. So, and first of all, introduce yourself to the people.
Well, she already did, but I'm Dr. AudreyAnn Moses. I live in Greenwood, South Carolina, which hasn't been very green, you know, these last few weeks because we got snow for real. And people that are from my town, my part of South Carolina know exactly what I mean. You know, it was like we got a little bit of snow and you know some slush last weekend, and then this weekend past we got snow. And okay, if you're from up north, then I know you're gonna laugh because I was born and raised in Philly, so I understand. But you know, we got like 3 inches of snow. The whole place shut down.
Wow. Wow.
I think I stayed in my house from Thursday until yesterday.
Wow. Wow.
But anyway, I as she said, I'm an author. I love writing. I'm a Christian life coach. I love working with people, walking with them on their path, whatever that journey is for them. I love walking with them on it. And so I'm retired United States Navy, 22 and a half years, and
Thank
I've
you
been
for your service.
retired. October of this year, I would have been retired for 30 years.
Wow.
So, God has really been on my side.
Wow. Wow. Well, thank
So
you for your service, Dr. Audrey.
thank you. Thank you. So, I'm just happy to be here.
Well, I am happy you said yes. Thank you so much. I know you were on your show this morning. I did catch some of it. I caught
Thank
it after
you.
the fact, but I did catch some of it. So,
Thank you.
Dr. Audrey, I asked everybody this question: did you ever want to be an author? Was that your dream? I know people said, I knew I wanted to be a writer or an author since I was a baby. I know that's not my story. That's not Laquita's story. Who ends up on this end of the of the block. But I never said I wanted to be a writer or wanted to be an author. It found me, and I'm glad that I did. Now I'm a bona fide note taker.
Yes.
And I write pretty decent books. I write pretty good.
You write good books. Don't let her fool you.
I do
No.
pretty good. I do. My
Don't let
coaches
her
say,
fool you. I know her.
my coaches say you do pretty good, or do you do excellent? But
Excellent.
thank you, Dr. Audrey, and you are so sweet. So, did you always know that you wanted to be an author?
I always tell this story and people look at me like, what? You know how when you're little and you write down the things you want to be when you grow up?
Mm-hmm.
My list, number one on my list was to be a sailor in the Navy from before I knew how to write.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to be, I loved back then in the 50s and early 60s, they had that cartoon, Popeye the Sailor Man. That was my favorite cartoon,
I like a
So,
good too.
I always wanted to be a sailor. I always wanted to be a teacher. I always wanted to be an author.
Oh wow! So you can check
All
all
my
that off
life.
your list.
Yes, and the counseling part came later.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look back, I guess I always wanted to be a counselor because people were always coming to me telling me their problems. But but those four things were on my original, literally my original, well, not the counseling part, but
Mm-hmm.
the other three were originally on my this is what I want to be when I grow up list. And
Oh
God
wow!
has blessed me because I joined the Navy and I became a teacher in the Navy. And then, I taught university for many years and I became an author. So God
Wow!
has blessed me.
Wow! Wow! Talk
Mhm.
about walking in that path.
Yeah,
Sometimes we create a path and we have an idea in our mind of what we want to be, and then sometimes it never happens
right.
because we set in our mind that it's not possible. You know,
It's
I want to be a doctor, but I don't think I can. And only
right.
because we don't see somebody in our family or somebody close to us that has accomplished that.
Exactly.
So we feel like that
Exactly.
goal isn't reachable, but it is.
Exactly.
Anything is
Yeah.
reachable. You have to
Yeah.
work for it. I know it didn't just fall in your lap. You had to work for it.
And you know what? I with the author part, I really did kind of this morning on the show, I was talking about how we fall down and then
We get up.
sometimes we let ourselves lie in the ditch for a while
Yes.
before we get up. And
Yes.
I did that with my authorship because I used to write great essays and great stories for school and all of that. And I always got great grades on them. But I never thought that anybody wanted to read my words. So I never published anything. And I remember one year I did publish in a magazine, and I said, "Oh, that is so nice." And then I never did, you know. And
That's cute.
so things like that, And so I had to make myself and other people, look, open up that nugget up there
Mhm.
and listen to what I'm saying, because I had people, my very good friend Denise lives here in Greenwood. She was the one that said, "How do you know if people want to read your words if you don't give it to them?"
If you don't give it to
You
them.
can't say people don't want to read your books if you never write a book and publish it.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I had all kind of manuscripts all over the place. I would write stuff, save it in my laptop, and that's where it stayed.
And you know what, Dr. AudreyAnn, I like that you said that, because I always say the only stories we can't heal from are the ones we don't share. And
Exactly.
I've had people, I've heard it all. I've heard people say, oh, people don't read books. Well, people may not actually pick up a hardcover book and read it,
Mhm.
but they'll listen to an audiobook.
Yes. Mhm.
It has to start from somewhere.
It has to start from
So,
somewhere.
they'll read an ebook. So you have to be able to make it
Mhm.
available for every
Yeah.
genre. They'll
Yeah.
listen, they'll read it,
Mhm.
they'll
Mhm.
they'll scroll on it on
Yeah.
their iPad or phone, but
Yeah.
they will read.
Yeah.
If nobody was reading books, but books would not be published every single
Right.
day.
Right.
Every single
And
day.
they are every single day. There's a bestseller coming out, 2 or 3
Every
in the
day.
day.
It's possible.
Yes.
And you know what? Years
Mhm.
ago, it was different. It was
Mhm.
different. You used to have to wait. So there are so many different ways. I remember having a conversation with this guy on Facebook in one of these groups.
Mhm.
He had posted, if somebody approaches you and you have to pay them to publish your book, then it's a scam. and
Mm.
and I said, and I responded, because and the person that did this was in one of my books. He was in one of the books that I published, one of the veterans books. And I'm like, no, that's not right. So I said, you can't give people false information. So you have
Right.
to give
Right.
them an option. So there are so many options, and we have more options now than we had 5
Yes.
years ago or
Yes.
10 years
Yes.
ago. So
Yes.
Dr. AudreyAnn, I remember reading your story in she said yes. She said yes to herself unapologetically, and you
Mhm.
talked about your experience with going, wanting to go to the Navy and
Mhm.
having to not being able to go right away, and so
Mhm.
it was kind of like a dream deferred,
Right.
but it wasn't canceled. We
It
put things
wasn't a
in the background.
cancel.
It wasn't canceled. So you
Right.
went through that. You became a teacher in the Navy, and then
Mhm.
you started writing. Like I still am somewhat a bona fide note taker, because I got notes to the right. And I'm like, what is
Yeah.
this on this paper? What is this? I
Yeah.
even pulled a piece of paper because I know you're gonna give us some nuggets. So I have paper right here to write notes on. But when we started working together, and we did work together with, she said yes to herself
Mhm.
unapologetically.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
we started working together officially with Dead Girl Walking,
Yeah.
oh my. So walk us through. So this is Dead Girl Walking.
Yeah.
So walk us through what made you, first of all, what's in a name? Okay, I need to say that
Right.
part. Dead Girl Walking, what's in a name? What
Right.
was the motivation behind Dead Girl Walking? I know that story, but I want my audience to know that story. What was the motive? Tell us,
So
share with the people.
so what happened was
What happened
Uh,
was,
what had happened was my good friend Dr. Rhonda Lawson was doing an anthology, and her anthology was entitled, and I think I have it right here. Maybe not. Maybe not. Anyway, it was entitled a Renaissance in a new Renaissance, and it was 13 or 14 authors that wrote fiction, any title, anything, but we were wanting to feel like we were in that Renaissance age back in the day, when the authors were coming out just really writing, especially the Black authors were really just writing about us, and about the things that we go through. So um I came up with this story because, like I said, I taught university for a while. And in the book, I talk about how when I was teaching college, I taught at a HBCU, which I love. I love, love, love. And if I had the energy, I would go back and
do
teach
it
at an
again.
HBCU. I would. I loved it. I loved it. And my HBCU was Hampton University in
Whoa.
Hampton, Virginia. I still watch their band online and follow the football and all of that. But anyway, I would look at the roll and I was like, oh my God, please help me. Because on the roll were 20 girls and their names all started with SH, SHI, SHE, SH, A,
Shakita, Shaquan,
Sha, she,
Shanita,
and yeah, Sha, she, and
Shante.
she, and it ended with Ma, you know, Ma or La or something,
Mhm,
and I was like, what am I gonna do with this? And so I went through it very carefully.
mhm,
If I couldn't pronounce it, I would ask the student, please tell me how to pronounce your name.
mhm.
Because I didn't like the idea of because my name, when we moved from Philadelphia until I was 14, my name was AudreyAnn. Audrey. Audrey. When I moved to South Carolina, it became Audrey.
Like
You
Lakita,
know,
Lakita, Laquatha, Laquanda.
yeah.
I'm like,
And
that's
I am like, wait a minute. My name doesn't begin with an O.
mhm,
you know
mhm,
and so I'm very careful about people's names.
mhm.
So that was one thing that got me to thinking about it. But the other one is when parents name their children, what are they thinking?
Yeah.
I told Laquita about a young girl in the Navy. She was in the Navy with me. She was pregnant. She wanted to name her baby Rotunda because she had gone to some cathedral. We were overseas and it was a beautiful cathedral. And she asked the people, what was it called? And they said, well, this part is called the rotunda. And she said, oh, this is so beautiful. I'm going to name my baby that. And I was like, no, you're not. I'm like, no, you are not going to name that baby that. Well, why not? And I said, go look up that word.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I made her, she went and looked it up and she came back and she said, I never thought it meant that. I'm like, yeah, that's what it means. You don't want to name your baby that, you know? And it just made me think about how parents don't even think
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah.
back during the beginning of Roots, there was like 100 kids named Kentakute and Kizzy. I'm like, these poor children.
And you know what? That is so. I learned a lot from working with you, Dr. Audrey Ann, because that's something that people don't think about. They don't
Uh-uh.
think about what will come. I remember my last name is Parks, and it's a very common name. But even the
Mhm.
kids used to pick at that. They used to call me Laquita Parks and Recreation. And then
Yeah. Yeah.
as I got older, the Laquita part became an
The
issue, and people would
Yeah.
pronounce my name, and I would just kind of be like, okay, and not say anything. But then as I got older, I'm like, wait, if
Wait
you
a
can
minute.
go to
It's
these
not that
Italian,
hard.
if you can go to these Italian restaurants and pronounce all those Italian dishes, you can say Laquita.
Exactly.
It's not that hard.
It's
And
not that
so
hard.
whatever was in what my mom, and I know my mom named me after her best friend, and it was supposed to be
Mhm.
Lakita.
Right.
So she named me after her best friend. But when you don't know your identity, you begin to become what your name is, especially when you don't.
Hmm.
I remember when my daughter had her children, she was very intentional when she named them.
Yes.
She went through the books. What does this name mean? So she
Yes.
made sure that all of her children have names
Yes.
with meaning.
With meaning.
With
Exactly.
meaning. So because that's the beginning. Because when they get to school and you wanted to pronounce the name, but Dr. Audrey, I know you've seen these videos where they have these teachers standing there with the roll and they're trying to call these names out, and it's
Oh,
funny.
and
It's
it's
funny, but it's
horrible.
not funny.
It's
It's not
horrible.
funny. So, Dr. Audrey, are you there? I'm sorry, my
Yes.
screen went blank. But
I'm here.
it is not, it's horrible. It is
Yeah, it
horrible. So we
is.
have to
It
be
is.
careful. So
It is.
so the what made you name the character, the what you named her? Tell us what you named her.
I named her Jane Doe, and her last name is Smith. And it was spelled Janedoughh,
Mm,
because even though her parents knew that Jane Doe was the worst name you could name a child, her mother said, okay, well, we'll just spell it different. And I have seen so many. I mean, I I have literally seen parents that say, "Oh no, that's not how it's pronounced." I said, "Well, it is spelled that way, and that is the worst name you can name a girl."
mm-hmm. It
You
is.
know, and but that's not, but if you pronounce it the way it spells, that child is going to be ridiculed all her life,
Mm-hmm.
because you have named her a name that is horrible. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I had a sailor when I was in Japan. His last name was Kane, Cane. They named their daughter Candy, and so her name was Candy Cane, and they thought it was the most wonderful thing.
And other
And I
people.
know right now that girl got married just so she could change her name.
Uh-huh.
You
Uh-huh.
know, you
Uh-huh.
know.
Because I know
So
she was picked at for that, especially.
yes, Candy Cane,
Mm,
and so, but I named Jane, her name was Jane Doe, and the reason her parents named her that is because they didn't want her.
mm-hmm.
She was an unexpected, literally unexpected child.
Mm-hmm.
And their parents, even though they weren't godly people, they didn't go to church. They did not disbelieve in God. They just really had no use for God.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but they were, it was enough for them to not want to abort the child,
Mm-hmm.
because they did not want to have to stand before God and explain why they aborted something that he, produced. And so they named her Jane, and they only had two other daughters.
Mm-hmm.
They had two other daughters and several sons. But they couldn't come up with a third name for a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And
Jane Doe was the best they could do.
Jane Doe was the best they could do. And her last name was Smith. So if you think about it, Jane Doe is the name of dead women that they have no identification.
Mm-hmm.
And every other person in the world is named Smith.
That's right.
In whatever language you put it in, it doesn't matter. So
Mm-hmm.
she was basically a dead girl walking.
Dead
And
girl
that's
walking.
why I named the book Dead
Dead
Girl
girl
Walking.
walking. Dead girl
Right,
walking.
right.
This was an amazing book. What I love about it, I love the lessons. There were several
Mhm,
lessons because
mhm.
she lived her identity for a
Yes,
while. For a
she
while.
did.
She
She
lived her
did.
identity. But what I love about this, and what I love about your writing style, Dr. AudreyAnn, is that you didn't make it the ending.
Right,
You didn't make it an ending.
right,
You gave her a life. You
right.
gave her a life, and she was redeemed
Hmm.
in
Yeah,
Jane's journey.
right,
Jane's journey.
right,
So
right.
tell us about Jane's journey.
Okay, so in Dead Girl Walking, she lived a very abusive life growing up, physically, not so much physically, but emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Emotionally neglectful. is a better word for it. And not only from her parents, but from her siblings also. She was the youngest, you know. And so she lived through that. And then she got married. And she thought that getting married would make her life better. So that part came from my life
Mm. Mm.
because I got married as a teenager thinking it was going to make my life better. It
Mm-hmm.
made my life worse.
Mm.
You know, it made my life worse. I just praise God every day. I never got pregnant. And and the marriage didn't last a whole year,
Mm.
you know. So but in her situation, she did have a child, and she did, her marriage lasted she's a couple years
Mm-hmm.
before she was able to kind of start getting herself together.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very abusive, it was very neglectful, exactly what she grew up in. You know, she married this guy because he sweet talked her, and he told her how pretty she was, and she thought he was going to be a blessing for her, and he
Turned
wasn't.
out to be a curse.
He turned out to be a curse, literally. And but she met someone, a woman, an older woman, that stepped into that parenting role for her. You
And
know,
it was somebody that didn't look like her.
somebody that didn't look like her, and somebody that had the opposite of
Of
her
what?
values.
Yes.
You know, the opposite. And she called this lady the Jesus lady, because she said this lady walked around. She said that she was her nosy neighbor that walked around with her Jesus papers,
Mm-hmm.
you know, giving people her Jesus papers.
I
And
love that plot
so,
twist. I do. I
yes,
love that plot
yeah,
twist because
and
sometimes the people that we shy away from are the ones that's going to help us.
yes, and that woman became her lifesaver.
Mm-hmm.
And and then she met a life coach, a Christian life coach, and that Christian life coach also became her lifesaver,
Mm-hmm.
because those two women began to teach her how to love herself.
Yes.
And what her biggest fear was not being able to protect her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And those two women taught her how to love herself so that she would be able to properly love her daughter and take care of her daughter. So that's where Jane's journey comes in, because she gets up the courage um to leave, and she left and she went to live with her sister. And you
Wait.
know,
Don't go too far. Don't go
I'm
too
not going, I'm sorry. But anyway, that's the journey. She starts her journey on learning how to live with her, how to love herself, and pass that love down to her children, um and to get away from the abuse, that she
far.
wasn't going to die if she got away from her husband, because that's what she thought, that he was either going to kill her
Mm-hmm.
and her daughter, or she was going to die trying to get away from him.
Mm-hmm.
And she realized that she didn't die.
You know what I love about it? You put two components together. There are people, and I saw that right before we came on. I saw somebody posted Bible or therapy.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible or therapy, and somebody said both. And you know,
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Audrey, you know I am a proponent of therapy, and
Yes,
I am a Christian woman. I teach Bible
yes,
study, so I believe
yeah,
in the Word of God. And
yes.
there are a lot of people who feel like, honey, you just need to pray about it.
There,
Just pray about
it's
it.
more than that.
And so what you did was you took both. She
Mhm.
had both ends of the healing. So
Yes,
you can't have anything without the Word of God. Now
right,
that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
right.
So
Mine too.
I love the fact that you put both elements together and
Yeah,
showed her that, and one did not supersede the other.
right.
They were both working together as a
Together.
team, because
Hmm.
if my body is broken, if my body is torn, if my body is bruised, I have to see a medical doctor for that. And
Yes,
that doesn't stop me from my church obligations.
right.
It doesn't
Or
stop me
anything
from
else.
studying the
Yeah.
word. It doesn't stop me.
Hmm.
But if my brain
Hmm.
that controls my emotions, that controls all of these things that's going on with me, if that
Hmm.
needs some help, there are people who feel like you don't need this, you just need the Bible, you just need the word. And the word, and I agree, the word the word is what we need,
Yeah.
but you got to have some help to fix this
Right.
so that you can
Right.
understand the word clearly.
Right.
So I
Right.
love that. I love that you
Mhm.
incorporated that in this book, and you
Mhm.
gave her a future.
Yes.
So I just love your writing style. I
Yeah.
love your writing style.
There's something I want to say about what you just said.
Hmm.
Many people don't know. I mean, psychologists know this, but if they want to contradict the word, if they are not Christian counselors or psychologists, they won't admit it. But we all know that God speaks to us through our mind
Yes.
and our heart.
Hmm.
You know, so if your mind is disturbed, if you are depressed, if you are having a lot of anxiety, if you're having a lot of stress, that is Satan's way of preventing you from hearing what God is telling you.
Hmm.
And the only way to work through that trauma is for somebody to help you that believes in the word of God. So I always tell people, you know, whether you go to church or not, your best bet is a Christian therapist
Hmm.
or a Christian counselor or a Christian, you know, coach or something, because they are going to help you to get back to that clearness, the
Yes.
clearness that you need, you know, as opposed to someone that is trying to help you to do it all on your own by
Hmm.
yourself. You know, it's, I
Hmm.
love existential um therapy. I love it because it helps you to learn how to believe in yourself.
Yes.
But you cannot believe in yourself without believing in God.
Absolutely.
You know, so
Absolutely.
they have to go together. If you just do existential by yourself, it's not going to work.
And you can
You
ask
know.
for one. I asked for one.
Yeah.
I was specific
Yes.
with
You can
what I
ask for one.
wanted. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I didn't I needed that. And I recognize, and sometimes people don't recognize that they need a little something extra.
Yeah.
They need something extra. Grief is real.
Grief is real.
PTSD is real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anxiety and
Depression is
depression is
real.
real. And
Yeah.
I'm glad we're having this conversation, Dr. AudreyAnn, because there are so many people experience it now more than I've ever
Yeah.
seen and
Right.
in my lifetime. And it is necessary. And there are still people who don't
Yeah.
believe that it's necessary. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
they plan, they this or that. Or what I hear a lot of Christian people say, just pray about it. And
Yeah.
they actually set people up, and it isn't right. So and I don't think that they mean harm. I think they just need to be educated, so they do it
But you
out of
know,
ignorance.
right. You know, the Bible says faith without works is dead. The Bible also says you cannot get into heaven by your works.
That's right.
You know, and so, but what it means is when it says faith without works is dead, it means that I'm going to pray and I'm going to ask God to take this anxiety away from me, and I'm going to have the faith that God is going to present the opportunities that I need, and then I'm going to walk in that opportunity,
That's
which
right.
means God is going to present you with a therapist that speaks his language, that's going to help you to
Gonna
get
give you
through
the
that
tools.
anxiety, you know,
Exactly.
give you the tools that you need, you know, so that you can walk out of that anxiety.
Hmm.
So, but if we just pray, which it just gives me a headache when people say, oh, just pray about it, you'll be fine.
Hmm.
Just pray about, you want me to pray to God because my spouse, men or women, is abusing me to the point of death,
Hmm.
and that's all you want me to do is just pray about it.
Hmm.
You're
Exactly.
telling a child to just pray about it when that parent is starving them to death. You know,
And
but
that where are the works? That's the prayer, but where are the works?
where are the
Where are the
who is
works?
going to help? There
As
has to be
my
help.
teacher, my Bible school teacher used to say, you got to put feet in it.
Yes,
You got to put
and
feet
you
in your
do.
prayer. I
Yes, you do.
I love your writing style. I
Thank
do. I
you.
love your writing style. And I'm so excited because I've had the pleasure of playing around in all of your books.
Yes.
You have
Yes.
listen, if you we are talking to, this is My Heart on Pages, and we're talking to Dr. AudreyAnn Moses, and we're specifically talking about, she's the author of many books, so you have to check out her website and she'll give you that information shortly.
Yes.
But we just finished talking about these two fabulous books, Dead Girl Walking and Jane's Journey.
Mhm.
I love it. And then here we have the love story, Silver Moon.
Silver
We
Moon,
have
honey.
Silver Moon. Listen,
Book
Jane,
3.
Jane here for in the beginning, she didn't have a future. She didn't know what her future was. All she knew is that she was just trying to survive day by
Right.
day. She had no
Right.
idea what to do. And then
Right.
then the least expected savior comes
Right.
and comes and helps her. And so
Right.
she empowers her to change her environment, to go,
Yes.
and not only did she go, she went she went to find people that she didn't know who
Right.
welcomed her with open
Right.
arms. And then
Right.
she started letting herself be free. One thing I want to
Right.
mention in this about the husband, and you guys are gonna have to get the book to know the whole story. But one
Okay.
thing that I that stood out to me that I remember when they went through the divorce, and she said, you had a part in there where she said, he didn't even fight for me.
Right. He didn't fight for
He
her.
didn't fight for me.
He didn't.
You know,
Mm-mm.
and that was really deep. What made
Yeah.
you put that part in there, Dr. AudreyAnn? That was deep.
Well,
What made you go there?
well, I hear it a lot. I hear it a lot, and I think that that's how I felt. Because um, when my current spouse and I went through a divorce, and that whole story.
Yes.
And everybody, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to tell it now. But but maybe another time.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt that way. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like, he's not even going to try, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and that stuck to me for years, until he and I got to a point where we could literally talk about where we were at that moment
Mm-hmm.
individually, and then I began to kind of understand. But so when I put that in there, I knew how she felt,
Mm-hmm.
that he didn't care anything about her,
Mm-hmm.
so he didn't come after her. He didn't care, he didn't care about her or their children,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that's why I'm having a moment. So
That's okay. Hey, you know, if you see me kind of tilt down, it's because I have a heater right here, and so sometimes
uh,
it gets a little hot, and I have to turn it off. And then two
right.
minutes
Well,
later, I get
mine's is
cold, and
over
I turn it
there. I
back on.
can't get to it. But yeah, that's why I put that in there, because there are a lot of people, men and women, who feel like that. It's like, yeah, we had issues. Yeah, this was going on, but come on now, can't we talk about this some
Can we
more?
talk about it?
And the spouse doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, you gotta, women especially have to hear this. It is not only women that go through this.
No.
It is men that go through this too, because as my husband and I started rehashing everything and talking about everything before we got back together, come to find out, he felt the same way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we all feel that way, and that's why I put that in there for her.
That
Yeah.
sounds like our other podcast. What's happening outside of love?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk about the love story.
Yeah.
Silver Moon. You know, when I saw the end, and you're gonna have to get the whole book, right? You're gonna have to read the trilogy to know the whole
Yeah.
story.
We really do.
But when she
All of them.
you have to see how the story unfolds. You really, really have to. But when
Yeah.
I got excited, I was like, okay, she had a whole different life. She moved to the farm, she
Yeah.
reestablished a relationship, and
I'm
then with her
sorry.
sister, and she found out that her sister was going through her own thing.
Right.
And it
With,
wasn't that
with
she
her
didn't care
parents.
about her, right? It wasn't that she didn't care about her, and she had remorse because she felt like she left her sister behind. But
Right.
she had to save herself, and sometimes
Yeah.
you can't save somebody else before you save
Right.
yourself. You got to put
Exactly.
your life jacket on first.
Exactly.
So I love the fact that in Jane's journey, it truly is a journey. It
Yeah.
truly is a journey. And she was kind of unbelief at the time, like, wow, all this. And she was like,
All
wait,
this.
how they living? Wait, how they living?
Yeah.
And then to see her sister's husband, it's like, okay, this is what a
This is
relationship
what love.
looks like. This is what
You know
love looks
what?
like.
I'm gonna tell you where that came from. You know what I'm looking for? I'm digging for my fan because
Okay.
I am really having a moment. Get- I'm sorry. I know I got one here somewhere. Here we go. Oh, y'all.
She having her own private summer. Hey, and you know what? If you know about menopause, and
Oh,
I'm not saying that, but it is it's them hot and cold days. But
yes.
Dr. Audrey, I want to read the back of
Okay.
Silver Moon first. Um,
Okay.
Jane has come a long way from dead girl walking. She survived dysfunction, first in her family, then in her marriage, where true love was
Mhm.
scarce and rarely found at home. In both Beaufort, South Carolina, with the guidance of Dr. Matthews and Mrs. Johns, Jane is
Mhm.
learning to step out of darkness and into the light. Her journey
Mhm.
is far from over, but she begins to understand what they taught her. Life starts with learning to love yourself because Jesus
Mhm.
already loves her.
Right.
Watching the tenderness between Tamara and Frank, that's the husband and the sister, Jane
Mhm.
sees for the first time that love can come naturally, freely, and without cruelty. And through the
Yes.
steady arrival of Miss Jones' Jesus papers, and I like that she continued to send those. Jane begins to sense the presence of God in her personal space, another
Right.
new experience. But questions remain. Is there a new love waiting for Jane? Is she ready to let God completely into her life? And will she dare to open her heart to be vulnerable with a man again? Silver Moon
Right.
will make you ask yourself, does your past still hold you hostage, keeping you from trusting God or anyone, even when that trust will bring you exactly what you need?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Okay. Um, well, let's start at the bottom of that first because
Mm,
I wrote that it says, is there new love waiting for Jane? And as you read, even in Dead Girl Walking, she most of Dead Girl Walking, she wasn't thinking about another husband. She was thinking about how to survive the one she had,
mhm, mhm,
and so and even throughout Jane's journey, you know, um she was that wasn't where she was because she was still, you have to remember, this is a girl that grew up in a godless home.
mhm,
She grew up in a godless home. She grew up not knowing who God was, and she didn't start learning who God was. She never heard of Jesus,
mhm,
not for real, um until she started getting Mrs. John's Jesus papers, and then Mrs. John started explaining to her what they actually meant.
mhm.
So when we're looking at that, you have to look at this is the first series I've written where you literally have to read book 1, book 2, and
in
book 3
in that order to
in
know it
that order.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And I remember I've read books like that and I'll be like, man, I just want to get to the end. Well, you
Mhm,
can't.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, you can't skip past this one.
You can't,
You cannot. You cannot.
but so as she goes through this journey, she is still trying to figure out who she is now that she is away from, that abuse. She's
Mhm,
trying to figure out how is she going to live? What can she do for herself? Can she even trust herself?
mhm,
To love herself. That's what
mhm.
so she doesn't have time to think about another man,
Right.
you know. And
And she don't
besides,
trust. She can't trust yet.
she can't trust them. She's still not sure if she trusts God
Right.
because she said, well, God is a man,
Yeah. Right.
and God made these men. Why should I trust him?
And God let
You
these
know,
men do this to me
yeah, the only men she ever knew in her life was her father,
and her
who
husband.
was neglectful,
Mhm,
and her husband, who
mhm,
was neglectful.
mhm.
So why should she risk another man?
Right.
So that's the first thing. She's trying to work her life one step at a time through all of that. So
Mhm,
when you get to the rest of it, You know, when you work through, when as she's working through learning who she is and learning how to love herself, then the thought is like, well, so can I really love somebody else? And can I really trust somebody else? And God, if you want me to do this, then you are going to have to fix it up. You know, you are going to have to show me sign. She literally said that you're going to
Yeah,
have to show me
yeah,
a sign.
yeah. Show me. And in
Yeah,
that the bargaining, we bargain with God all the time.
yeah,
God, if
yeah,
you want me to do this, you're gonna have to
yeah.
show me. Show
You're
me,
going to
God.
have to show me. Yeah.
Show me,
But
God.
but it was good because she had gotten to a point in her relationship with God that she felt comfortable saying that to God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, God, I'm learning how to trust you. So now if you want me to trust another human, you're going to have to fix it up. And I'm going to have to know that you fixed it up, not somebody else.
And she
You
learned to
know?
really talk to God.
Yes.
You know, thank
Yes.
you for the through those Jesus papers.
Yes.
She learned to
Yes.
talk to God.
She learned.
So,
And
Doctor, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
well, Mrs. Johns, you know, we have all different types of Christians.
Mm-hmm.
We have all different types of Christians. Mrs. Johns was the type of Christian that believed in her Bible, believed in her Jesus, believed in her God, believed in her Holy Spirit, and believed in her walk. And that's how she talked.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She didn't talk all this theologian and, you know, and thus says the Lord and blah, blah, blah. She, whatever, if she was explaining to her about Daniel in the lion's den, she explained it to her in a way where the girl thought she was in the lion's
Nice.
den with
Yes.
Daniel.
Exactly. I
You
have a
know,
teacher like that.
it wasn't all of this high, and that's how I teach.
Right.
You
Me
know,
too.
my
Me too.
psychology
Plain.
students, several of my psychology students have PhDs now. And when I hear them talk, they taught the way I taught them, which makes me feel really good because they taught like the things that we are teaching have to do with you today,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
not back then when Freud was alive and when Jung was alive. And
Right.
no, it's about today, you
Right.
know. And when I teach Bible, What is it? What has this got to do with you today? You
Exactly.
know, and
Ex-
that's how Mrs. Johns taught her. You
You know,
know, so she learned how to talk to God like he was standing right next to her.
I also like where I like in Jane's journey where she didn't allow her children to come in. I mean, dead girl walking. She didn't allow her children to come in with their negativity. And you know, she's only, you know, like because she took her in. She took
Right,
Jane in, and they were like, you know, why is she here?
right,
And she didn't look
right,
like them, so they were
right,
automatically, you know,
right,
assuming that she was out to get something without
right,
even realizing, you know what, they without even caring who their mother was
right,
and knowing,
mhm,
okay, this is her and she's not here, she's helping her. So I
right,
like that she didn't let that stop her
right,
from helping her. So
right.
she was able to see that, because a lot of times they would be like, oh, my children are not comfortable with you, so you know,
Mhm.
you got to go
So
on.
she
So
got to
that,
go. Yeah.
yes, that
Mhm.
was wonderful. So
Yeah.
you know, Dr. AudreyAnn, our time always
I
goes so
know.
fast.
I
So
know.
what are you working on now, Dr. AudreyAnn?
Well, after I finished with Silver Moon, I took a break. And
Much needed break.
I took a break and I write for two magazines. I write, we both write for Listen Linda magazine.
Yeah. Well, I
And
don't
and
write
I,
for Listen Linda anymore, but I did.
but
I did for a whole
yeah,
year. Yeah.
yes. And I write for another magazine called Spreading the Gospel.
Okay.
And so I still write my articles for those two magazines.
Mm-hmm.
And but I took a break from writing because I just felt like I needed to give myself a vacation,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't write. But I do have I'm working on an outline. It's not for Jane. You know, Jane is enjoying her life now.
She's in she
So
Jane has completed her adventure, and
right.
she is in a
You know, she
Jane
might
story has
pop
a
up
happy
again
ending.
later. She
Mm-hmm.
might pop up again later, but not right now.
Well,
But
I am glad, Jane, you gave Jane a happy ending.
yeah, and
So
so but I am writing a book that has nothing to do with any of the books that I've written. and I'm taking a piece of the story of Leah and Rachel
Oh,
and
oh.
Rebecca. You know,
Ah,
Rebecca was Jacob's mother. You
yes.
know, and just to clarify, you know, in the Bible, Jacob and Rebecca was his mother, Leah and
Rachel.
Rachel was his wives. And so
That's a
I've
that's
been
a
wanting
great
to write.
story.
Yeah, I've been wanting to write a story about them for a while. And actually, I thought I had started, and I must have just had it in my head because I cannot find any notes. So now I have to, you know, I'm working on the outline for that. And
Hmm.
I just wanted to be like a cute short story,
Okay.
something fun, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And so I'm working on that. And I wrote a book in the beginning, my first four books. One of them was called The Swing,
Mhm.
and I think I'm going to write something dealing with that.
Okay. Oh,
So,
that's gonna be
that's what
interesting.
I'm working on right
That's
now.
gonna be
Yeah,
interesting. So, Dr. Audrey, how many books total have you written?
my own personal books, I've written 9. This was my 9th book of my own personal books.
Hmm.
I've written 6 anthologies
Hmm.
and magazine articles.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
how can people purchase any one of your books? Any the trilogy, the trilogy, and how can they purchase any other of your books? So you guys have to have this set. It's
Yeah.
this is a must.
Yeah.
Must.
So, on my website is it's called the Jane Burton trilogy, and it is, and I never did change the holiday price. So if you order it, if you
You got a
order it
treat.
now,
You got a treat. Go ahead
if
and
you
order it
order it
now.
now,
Hmm.
you'll get the entire set for $30, which is like $30 off.
Yes,
You know,
that's a huge
yeah.
deal. That's a huge
So
deal.
you'll get the entire trilogy for $30. And my website is transition life coach for you, and it's the number 4 letter u.com. And if you go on, you'll see where it says AudreyAnn's books, and just you'll see it there. And so you can get it there, or if you get the books from Amazon, they are available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle. If you are a Kindle lover, then they're on Amazon.
Repeat that.
Kindle.
Repeat your website again, Dr. Adrian.
It's transition life coach,
Okay.
and it's the number 4 small letter u. Well, it's all small letters, but you know, .com. And if you put, what is it, slash new, well, just tell them to go, don't do the slash. Just when you pull it up, please, 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 when you first pull it up, it asks you for your email address. Please give me your email address so that way I can let you know about all my little projects that are going on.
Okay.
I
Well,
guarantee you I'm not a spam. I guarantee you I won't beg you for except to buy my books. But
did we get it
but you
right on the
know,
screen, Dr. Adrian? Transition for life
um
coach for you dot
girl,
com.
you know I can't see that little writing, but
Transition life
transition
coach for
life
you.com.
coach for, no, it's for the letter U, not YOU.
Okay, we'll fix
The
that.
letter U.com. And but if you leave your email, then that way, you know, I can let you know what projects I'm working on, where I'm going to be doing book signings and everything. Because thanks to Dr. Laquita, I am connected with the grocery store authors. So,
Yay!
you might somewhere
Congratulations!
in
Let's
South
get it.
Carolina,
Yeah.
Southern South Carolina, Georgia, you might find me in a grocery store, in a
Yes, we have to do
Kroger
something
somewhere.
together. We have to do something
Yeah.
together. I'm glad with that.
Yeah. So, you know,
Awesome.
I'll let you know where I'm going to be and when I'm going to be there.
Good.
And, but anyway, but then if you just go into AudreyAnn's books, there's a pull down called AudreyAnn's book. You'll see all my books there,
Awesome.
and you can get them there. And like I said, They are still on the Christmas sale because I never went in to change, like I told you, I took a for real vacation,
And you
and
deserved it. You deserved a
yeah,
real
yeah,
vacation.
because I was really busy towards the end of the year and I just needed a break, from books. We had like we had anthologies going on. I had book signings going on and I just needed a break. So the Christmas sale is still on.
Awesome. Well, Dr.
So
AudreyAnn, thank you so much.
yes.
I love you. I love you.
Mhm.
Some people say, I would say I love you like a fat kid love cake. Yeah, but I love you. Skinny people like cake.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much for trusting me with your projects. It was a pleasure
Yes.
working with you. You are such a joy to work with. And
Thank
thank
you.
you for trusting my process. So
Yes.
I really, really appreciate you. I
Yes.
have enjoyed your stories.
Thank you.
I love your writing style. I really,
Thank
really
you.
do. And
Thank
there
you.
is more to come, more to come.
Mhm.
So listen, thank you. This has been Dr. AudreyAnn and
Yes.
Dr. AudreyAnn Moses
I
with,
have one
oh,
thing to
go ahead.
say
Go ahead.
before you cut me off.
Okay, I will cut you off.
Listen, peoples. Listen, peoples. Don't ever say you don't have a book in you. Don't ever say that. Call Dr. Laquita. Call her. You know what her Facebook page is. You call her, text her, email her, FaceTime her, whatever you got to do so she can help you to pull those words out.
Thank
One word, a book is one word at a time. You
you.
hear people say one page at a time. Sometimes all you got is one word, two words. Put them one or two words on a paper. And every time you put one or two words on the paper, next thing you know, you have a book.
Absolutely.
So,
Thank you so much.
and let her help you.
Thank you. And you know what? Your story matters. Your story
Yes.
matters. Don't let anybody tell you that it does not matter.
Yes.
I will be doing, Dr. Audrey, a writing workshop on February 28th.
Right.
And you can
Hmm.
find the information on my website, and more information to come. But stories matter. And my goal is
Yes.
to help people take that story from a thought to a realization, because there are
Exactly.
so many people who are hurting. The only
Yes.
stories that we cannot heal from are the ones that we don't share. And your
Exactly.
story does not have to be a trauma story.
Mm-mm.
It does not have to be a trauma story. Dr. AudreyAnn wrote these books, and they are beautiful books, and she incorporated her life in these books. And they're
Mhm.
beautiful, beautiful stories. So is this about her life story? No.
Mhm.
But she
Mhm.
incorporated herself in there. But writing is therapeutic. It is
Yes,
therapeutic, and your
it
story
is.
matters. 100% of everybody living and dead has a story. So I
Yes.
challenge you to tell your story this year. This year is the year of
Yes.
story. And we have to create
Yes.
the narrative. We have to
Mhm.
create the narrative. It's Black History Month, and we have to create our own narrative. All right. So, with that being said, if there's anything that I can do to help you take
I
your
can't
story
hear
from a
you.
thought to a realization, reach out to me. You can reach me on my website, and
Mhm.
that's payprovpublishing.com. You can also reach me on all things social media. So, thank you so much for tuning in to Dr. AudreyAnn Moses, My Heart on Pages. And I am Laquita Parks. And thank you so much. It has been a plump, pleasing pleasure. Better than a triple decker peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Until next time, be blessed.
I can't hear you anymore.
You can't hear me?
It's my fault.
Oh,
It's mine.